Welcome, Bernina Jeff here at High Fashion Sewing Machines in Grand Junction, Colorado. This is our monthly Floriani Club, and today we're going to learn about resizing responsibly. Have you ever taken some designs and made them a bunch bigger or a bunch smaller and they didn't stitch out very well? Well, first thing you'll want to do is go to your Floriani Club, sign in, and watch your the video by Trevor Conquergood. And to find the videos that are archived, you want to go to Blogs and News, come down to Club Weekly Video Archive, and it will populate, and we'll want to use Trevor's video today that is entitled Size, I believe. So we have size changes. It's 12 minutes and 47 seconds. I'm not going to put it on this YouTube, so you go in and watch this before you watch the rest of the YouTube, and it'll make a lot more sense. So he does a really good job on explaining some pull compensation rules and some rules about width of satin runs and columns. So I'm going to go ahead and close this window. I have already opened up my Floriani software, and I'm going to work with a design that is in my library over here. I'm going to open up my free monthly designs, and I already found out that I'm in April 2019 is the one I'm going to use. I'm going to click on Design tab now and come down to this. There is a heart-shaped border with a monogram in the middle. If you were to pick the JPEG version, you wouldn't be able to, it's not stitches, so you couldn't do any editing on it. So I'm going to grab the WAF version of this. I'm going to click on it and drag it over to my workspace. And I'm going to resize this. So right now, if I select it, and it's going to give me really light sizes of what is the size of it. So right over here it says it's 4.31 inches, and down here it is a little larger. It's 6.5 inches. Now, if you haven't seen any of my YouTubes before, to position this design right in the middle of my workspace, I like to double click real quick on the magnifying glass, so double left click on that. And now it's sized and spaced right in the middle of my design. And I can see it's 6.5 by 4.3. So there's two ways we can resize this. We can come up here and resize it in our properties box. I'm just going to grab a corner of it. These are called handles. I'm going to left click and hold down till it is approximately 3.5 by 2.5. And it's working now. It's going to resize that to quite a bit smaller. So that's way less than half the size. So if we had a really good design that stitched out at that 6.5, now that we've made it, 3.5, some of these lines are too skinny and they're not going to properly stitch out. So I'm going to show you how to change your pull compensation on these and make those lines stitch out better. So I'm going to double click on magnifying glass again to get this to my full workspace. And Trevor showed me how to check the size. So I'm looking around. There's some really skinny places of satin stitches here that are probably not going to satin stitch out very well. So I am going to click on my magnifying glass and draw a little box around here. And that's going to magnify the box area. Now I'm going to click on my ruler tool, and I'm going to hold down the left clicker and come down here. And it says, I'm in inches. It says it's 0.02 inches, and it even says use a run stitch. It suggests the proper stitch there. If I want to measure here, I'm going to hold down, measure across, and this is 0.05. It says I can use a bean stitch. But I have found if you're using size 40 weight thread, proper needle and stuff, 0.05 of an inch will make a decent satin column. I wouldn't go any less than that. Trevor is using a a millimeter equivalent, so he doesn't go much less than 1 millimeter. So that's good rule of thumb. Now, if you wanted to switch this to millimeters, it's really simple. Right up here, I'm going to left click on this bar where it's my ruler bar, and it gives me a drop down. I'm going to click it to metric, and now I'm going to measure and see how big it is. So this is only 0.5 millimeters. This one up here is 1.6 millimeters. That's going to stitch out just fine, but this 0.5 millimeter is not going to stitch out very well. It's going to just be like a big mountain of threads. Trust me, it's just, you need at least 1 millimeter of size for a satin column to work. And you can't just switch this little bit of design area to a run stitch instead of a satin because it wasn't built that way. But there's a workaround. We are going to use what Trevor showed us, which is the pull tool. So I am going to, I have a ruler attached to my cursor right now. I'm going to go up to my red arrow, which is my select tool, touch that, and I'm going to go over to my properties, and I'm looking for a tab that looks like purple zigzags, and it's called pull and push. So I'm going to left click on that, and today we're going to work on pull compensation. And the pull compensation is, we're going to tell the machine or the software what is our smallest allowable space for width of our satin stitch. So I'm going to drop down, I'm going to put into an absolute value, and now we need to tell the software